In football, most heroes share one thing in common. They all left at some point. They left to be seen more. They left to win more. They left to make their names bigger.
But there was one man who could have left and chose not to. Francesco Totti, a king who never abandoned his kingdom. Rome is a city where football is not just a weekend game. In Rome, football is part of everyday life, in cafes, in the streets, in homes. Among all the legends of football, there are names carved into history by loyalty to a single color and a single city. In modern football, where the value of a shirt is often measured by transfer fees, no one, neither in Italy nor perhaps in the world, has lived the meaning of loyalty quite like Francesco Totti. Born in 1976 in the Porta Metronia neighborhood in the heart of Rome, he lived with Roma from the very first day, not just with the club, but with the city itself. When he was 16 years old, in March 1993, he made his debut for AS Roma, marking the beginning of a new chapter in football history. With his emergence, Roma found a new name for its captain, El Capitano.
He was more than a leader. He was the embodiment of the club's soul. For many, his loyalty and decision to stay were not a logical choice, but a vow. A vow that kept him in the red and yellow shirt for all 25 years of his career. Clubs like Real Madrid and other European giants came for him, with blank checks and guaranteed trophies. But the answer of Il Re di Roma, the King of Rome, was always the same: no. He once said, "Staying 20 years at one club is one thing, but for the captain of Roma, it's a choice of love. I didn't want more money or more fame. I only wanted Roma." Because of his fight and his commitment, the fans gave him another name: Il Gladiatore. On the pitch, he fought as if he were ready to die for the shirt. This devotion brought him only one Serie A title in 2001, but that single trophy stood taller than 1,000 honors elsewhere.
But for a king to truly take his throne, he needed a crown. For 18 years, Rome had burned in the desert of trophies. 18 years of waiting. 18 years of being humiliated by the wealthy powers of Milan and Turin. But the 2000-2001 season was the season of destiny. June 17th, 2001. The city was silent. Yet the Olimpico Stadium felt like the mouth of an active volcano, ready to erupt at any moment. Roma needed just one victory against Parma to claim the championship. The whole city held its breath. Anxiety hung over Rome like a thick fog. But there was one man who knew. Today was the day to repay a lifelong promise. In the 19th minute, as the ball settled at the captain's feet inside the penalty area, the 18-year-old dreams of an entire city rested on his legs. Totti struck a thunderous shot, shaking the net as if cutting the cord on all of Rome's long-held frustrations. He ripped off his shirt and ran toward the fans, an image forever enshrined in the Hall of Eternal Glory. That day, Roma won 3-1. And after nearly 2 decades, the Scudetto returned home. Rome did not sleep that night. The Circo Massimo became the stage for a celebration that lasted for weeks. With that victory, Totti proved that his loyalty had not been in vain. He had fulfilled the promise he made to himself as a child. I will bring the trophy home. This championship was the legitimacy of his reign. He was no longer just a player. He was the conqueror of hearts that had been broken for 18 years. Now, with a crown of gold, he was ready to defend his kingdom against any challenger.
Love for Roma had another side, hatred for the eternal rival Lazio. The Derby della Capitale, the battle between Roma and Lazio, turned the football pitch into a gladiator's arena. This derby was a clash of identities, pride, and vengeance. And in this arena, Totti was the undisputed commander. Totti often said that as a child he had a recurring nightmare. A nightmare where Lazio, the city's blood rival, would triumph over Roma, and he could do nothing. That nightmare shaped his entire career, turning it into a sacred war. Totti didn't just play in these derbies, he lived them. Over his career, he faced Lazio 44 times, scoring 11 goals, becoming the all-time top scorer in the derby's history. Every goal he scored against Lazio wasn't just a point on the board. It was revenge, a cleansing of childhood fears, and a reaffirmation of his reign. His historic selfie in 2015 wasn't a display, it was a declaration of war. This city belongs to us. In the derbies, Totti was not merely a player. He was the enraged spirit of Rome itself.
Totti's devotion was never limited to Roma. His love for the Italian national team began with a small tragedy. At Euro 2000, Italy fell just short of victory against France. But in 2006, it was time for redemption. The path was far from easy. Only months before the World Cup in Germany, Totti suffered a serious injury against Empoli, a fractured foot and a torn ankle. Doctors told him to forget about football and the World Cup. But Totti, with a metal plate in his ankle, joined the national team with unwavering determination. Throughout the tournament, he played through the pain, serving as the mastermind of the squad. In the round of 16 against Australia, the pain reached its peak. The match went into extra time, scoreless. In the 95th minute, Italy was awarded a penalty. In that critical moment, Totti, with his injured foot, stepped up and struck the ball like a guided missile into the net, sending Italy through to the next round. He shouted, "Be happy!" That goal was a symbol of his determination. Finally, with victory over France in the final via penalties, he lifted the World Cup. Already a European Golden Shoe winner and a legend in Rome, Totti had now achieved his ultimate national dream. That year, he overcame injury, led a powerful team, and conquered the world.
Years passed. His pace slowed, but his impact never did. Even in his final seasons, Totti's presence on the pitch could change the rhythm of the game. With Spalletti returning as Roma's coach for a second term, tensions rose. Spalletti wanted to use Totti mainly as a substitute, citing, "I make decisions for the club, not the legends." Totti, still feeling ready, believed, "My respect has been diminished." This conflict escalated, ultimately leading to a bittersweet, tearful farewell for Il Capitano. In May 2017, Francesco Totti played his final match. His goodbye was far from simple, neither for himself nor for Roma. Tears, cheers, and moments of silence marked the end of an era.
Some players are defined by stats, some by trophies, but some by the words of their rivals. Zinedine Zidane said, "Totti is an inspiring role model. He never won a Ballon d'Or, yet in the hearts of fans, he is a true winner, the best of his generation." Lionel Messi said, "He is one of the greatest. I've always admired him. If I could have one player's jersey, it would be Totti's." Fabio Capello said, "He wasn't a leader because he shouted. He was a leader because everyone looked to him." Alessandro Del Piero, his longtime rival, admitted, "Totti was the symbol of a city. Facing him was like facing Rome itself." Buffon said, "Whenever the ball was at Totti's feet, I knew what real danger meant. And Daniele de Rossi, the soldier who fought alongside the king for years, said, "We didn't play for Totti. We lived with Totti." But perhaps the greatest tribute came from Totti himself. When asked why he never left Roma, he simply said, "Some loves are not for sale." Totti proved that even in the modern business of football, you can reach the top by staying home. He was born in one jersey and became immortal in the same jersey. Francesco Totti, the king who never left Rome. And Rome will never forget him.
Francesco Totti never chased greatness. Greatness came to him.
The story of King Totti has come to an end, but many more stories remain. Support us by liking and subscribing, and tell us in the comments which legend you want to hear about next.